was thinking recently, and I was having a conversation uh, around where I got my start and why I do what I do, and how it is that we found this sweet spot of customers and really understanding the marketing behind pool business. Conversation with a pool customer, and in conversation we talked about me and our company understanding kind of who it is that our target audience is. Because from a marketing standpoint, everyone is not our audience, not even close to everyone. It's a real narrow scope of people, and we understand that. But I got to reflecting back years ago when I'd first gotten started, and I was in the very basic vinyl liner pool business industry, and that's what I was doing. I was had left a pool appointment, and I was driving down a back road, and I drove by a yard. It was a nice home, but not anything over the top, nothing exclusive. It was kind of a cottagey looking home. But in the backyard there was all kinds of heavy equipment, several excavators and skid steer and everything else, and I couldn't imagine what all that stuff was doing in the backyard, so I stopped and pulled over and walked back there. And here was this nice cottagey type of home on a little bit of property, and somebody had dreamed up this idea of carving out this space, and they were creating ponds and sitting areas, and they had several large pieces of equipment there, and my mind couldn't even wrap itself around how someone could see something like that and be willing to invest the time and money to have several big pieces of equipment sitting on site, when I know for me where I was at that point was you got the excavator in as quick as you could and got them out as quick as you could, because you had a certain amount of money that you had to budget toward excavation and hauling the soil away and everything else, and you're in and out as quick as possible when you're digging a pool because the customer, you only had so much money in a project. And here was this home where there's these several pieces of big equipment just sitting there at the middle. It was early evening, and I was reflecting on how I would love to do that, how that would be wow for me to just be able to carve out spaces and do really cool stuff. And here I find myself years and years later exactly in that spot. That thing that I was dreaming of when I saw that. See, my mind couldn't even wrap itself around that because I'd never seen it. But once I saw it and I realized it was possible, I just had no idea that it could be me doing it. It was just somebody else out there being able to do that. But what if? And that's what that day did for me, is it put in my mind the possibility of what if I could start creating really cool spaces. And I remember in particular, they had done a pond, and they were still in the process of building. It was a very large man-made pond, and there was a bridge over to a little bit of an island with a gazebo. And there was a nice wall coming around, and then on the roadside where I was, where I'd walked in, snuck into these people's yards, they had dug an area out and bouldered all the way around it with some steps down, and there was a fire pit there. And I remember standing there again. I guess I'm illegally in someone's yard, so there's that anxiousness of, is someone going to say something or whatever. But I remember feeling the feeling of what it would be like to be able to build things like that. And slowly over the years, what I found myself doing was reflecting on that moment and trying to recreate that moment with my own style, with my own thing. And now today, that's all I do, is I take a space and I create it in my mind over and over and over until it becomes the reality. So it starts here, and I work from underground up, and I do it over and over and over. I see every stage of it. I was just explaining to a customer that as I'm building, and what you see right now, I've already seen in my head. See all that stuff that's over there, and all that rebar sticking up, and that metal there, and that footing there? That's exactly what I've already seen it from every different angle a dozen times before I ever cut a single hole in the back of your yard. Is it's already there. And really, where that comes from, working my way backwards, was all those years ago, seeing that yard and being inspired that someday I would want to do something that cool. That was the very birth of Legendary Escapes. It was the beginning of something for me that drove me toward wanting to create spaces, to create environment. And I realized today, looking back on that whoever that homeowner was, and whoever that designer, landscaper, builder, whoever it was doing the work, they had found it. They had found each other, and they were and it was working. And what happened was, they were seeing a thing, and energetically it was working. And as they saw that thing and they could make it happen together, it created this space that was just, to me, I suppose going back there now would be very simple. But at that time it was so far beyond anything that I could have ever seen or believed, because all I knew was the thing that I knew how to do, and it was the door that just creaked open a little bit. And I thought, what if? What if I could do a little bit more of that? What if I could go a little farther with that? What if I could? And that what if forced me, it required me to take the next step and to push a little farther and to try a little harder. And that's what I did. I just pushed a little farther and tried a little harder and made some mistakes along the way, and gave some stuff away and made some money on some stuff and lost my butt on some stuff, and it didn't really matter, because I was starting to create that legendary brand. That thing that now we talk about in who we are, that we only want to build those projects that fit the legendary brand.